during your live video. Alright, so I think that should about be right. Let's get this focused and angle. So, for anyone watching this on YouTube after excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. So, for anyone watching this on YouTube after I upload it, hi, I'm Brandon Thunder, and thank you for tuning in. And for anyone watching this on Instagram, as I do this now, hi. Also, I'm Brandon Thunder. I'm the photographer and co-runner of IndyCar Central. And this is our first attempt at doing like a live podcast or like a recap type deal on this account. And we figured, since all this drama has been happening, there's a bunch of announcements, there's other stuff going on, there's scheduling that we figured we'd tell all you people about, and instead of just throwing a bunch of posts at you like we've already done. I know Matt and Ryan, they already released the posts earlier, and I helped gather information. I was scrapping Twitter all last night when this news broke. And more news about it broke this morning, along with a couple paint scheme announcements, and I recapped everything that's going to happen this weekend and wrote it down. That's what I have here. There's just a bunch of notes that we will be covering in this next 30 minutes. Now, this will potentially be a 15 to 30 minute show, hopefully every week. And hello there. Jack. So, yes, this will be a 15 to 30 minute show. I'm going to try every week. I don't know if I could knock it out every week because news stories don't typically break that often. And for this all to come out within a span of 2 days just caught everyone. It caught me off guard. It caught everybody. It caught the people I talked to off guard, because I talked to some people that are high up in the media rankings. One of my biggest inspirations, David Land, he was caught off guard. Hell, he did a freaking 2.5 hour live stream almost last night about it. And I don't work for IndyCar Central. I help run it. As I say, this isn't our job. All of us have separate jobs out of this, obviously, because this is a startup, and we're all young adults, and we can't obviously make money off of this yet. So we all have real jobs. And this always seemed to happen. All these big news stories tend to happen while we're out doing other things. And then when we get back and we connect on to the internet and check everything, it's just like the world has gone to hell. And from everything that happened last night was just surprising. And I've heard rumors about it, and that leads me on to our first topic. Chip Ganassi Racing released yesterday mid-afternoon, early morning, I'd say around 2 o'clock, around that time, that Alex Palou had reached a deal with them and was going to be staying with the team in 2023 for the NTT IndyCar Series season. And it was suspected that he would have sponsorship from NTT and would run the 10 car again. And no one thought anything of it. Everyone was expecting that to happen. But I say he's ran good this year. He's got 4 podiums. Won the championship, of course, last year, and everyone was just thinking, okay, this isn't out of the ordinary, it's fine. About 2.5 hours later, Twitter just blows up. Alex Palou releases 3 tweets basically saying that the press release was, I'll get to that, Jack, don't worry. But the press release released by Chip Ganassi, according to Palou, was not without his was without his knowledge, and none of it was under his knowing, and that he had previously told Chip that he was not re-signing with him due to personal reasons. And about 5 minutes later, here you see Arrow McLaren SP announces Alex Palou the 2023 season. Now, here's the next thing. They didn't specifically say where he was going. Sure, Arrow McLaren SP posted the thing, but so did McLaren. And who did Alex Palou tag on Twitter when the announcement broke officially from him? He tagged McLaren F1. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is last year, when you win, well, not last year, I think it's been recently, once you win the IndyCar Series Championship, you do earn 40 super license points, which can go towards a super license in F1. 40 is, I think, the exact amount you need. Correct me on this. I'm not too big with F1, all their rules, super license rules and all that. But it pretty much means if you win a championship in IndyCar, you are eligible to race in F1. And him tagging McLaren F1 in his tweet got a lot of people thinking, Daniel Ricciardo's contract is up at the end of this year. And also, Felix Rosenqvist just signed a deal with McLaren, and similar to this Palou deal, it's not stated where he's going to be either. Most people say Felix Rosenqvist, who has won and raced in Formula E, is going to the McLaren Formula E team. And Palou either has three choices. Go with McLaren for Arrow, McLaren SP for the IndyCar season. Potentially, I'm not saying this is possible, but it's very well could happen because I've seen crazier things happen. Could potentially replace Daniel Ricciardo for the Formula 1 seat next year, or he could go to Formula E and team up with Felix Rosenqvist. Now, most likely he's going to go to IndyCar because I don't see why he would. I believe if Zach Brown offered Palou a F1 seat, I think he would take it with open arms. He's also got Herta that tested his car recently. Alex Palou and Pato O'Ward have just been announced to test the car, I think later this year during the F1 testing sessions. So it's eventually a three-way battle. Yeah, okay, so I was right about that. And it's just pretty much it's not a done deal yet. Now, one thing that I am sure of that is a done deal is the AJ Foyt Racing number 11. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, not exactly 2 weeks ago, but I remember it was a few years ago. Sponsor Rocket had sponsored the Williams F1 team, and some shady stuff had been announced with that deal, and they backed out of it. And this year, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was 3 days before the Mid-Ohio weekend, AJ Foyt Racing released a statement saying that Rocket had missed payments and were not to likely continue running the 11 car for the rest of the year. Hello there. Howdy. So they had missed payments and were not going to continue running the 11 car for the rest of the year. And that was a big surprise, a big shocker, because they also sponsored Kyle Kirkwood, although not full-time sponsorship. They are a big part of his deal, and it's basically what holds up AJ Foyt Racing, pretty much. Dolan Kellett, not sponsored by them. Actually, he's got some backmarker sponsors backing from Rocket, but it's not to the extent of the 11 charter, or the 11 car. Because Tatiana Calderon ran the road and street courses for them, and then J.R. Hildebrand was scheduled to do the ovals, which he did. He ran the Indy 500, ran Texas. Tatiana has ran the rest of the races, and J.R. was supposed to run the Iowa doubleheader next week. And earlier today, they had announced they were withdrawing the 11 entry from Toronto. I don't know if they had made it up there yet, but if they have, they're packing it up and heading out, because they can't run that car if no one's paying for it. And I'd highly doubt AJ wants to run that car out of pocket. Especially as it is, I'm not giving any discredit to Tatiana, but she is still very new to IndyCar. She has been improving. I'm going to give her some credit there. She has been improving, but it's still not the improvements that I think AJ would want to be able to run that car out of pocket and see a significant gain back from the money to be able to fund that car. So they're going to pull that entry out, and honestly, it's in very high doubt of that car returning for the rest of the year, which means that Tatiana Calderon and J.R. Hillebrand are potentially out of a ride for the rest of this year. Now, speaking of out of rides for the rest of the year, earlier today, Chip Ganassi was expected to make an announcement soon regarding Alex Palou's contract with the rest of this year, because the deal Palou had made was for next year onward. And I don't know if it was a breach of contract to announce something premature like that, but it has been pretty much rumored, and it's at this point just not announced. It's more than likely, I'd say a good 78 to 90% chance this is going to happen. Chip Ganassi is likely to fire Alex Palou, and Tony Kanaan would be the replacement driver, and it would be effective as soon as this weekend in Toronto, which is just unbelievable. I wouldn't think that that would happen in a million years, because I had heard rumors that Alex Palou was going to McLaren, but Jenna Fryer is the one who originally started the rumor, and I picked up on that after hearing a tweet from her, and David Land had talked about it. I talked to David Land at Mid-Ohio, and he told me some things about the rumors that have been going on, and everyone was just thinking, oh, it's not going to happen. He won the championship for them last year. They're not going to expect to leave. So this just was a giant bombshell. And with Chip Ganassi and with Alex Palou leaving, that would potentially put, as I said earlier, Tony Kanaan, who has ran the Indy 500 only this year. Last year did the ovals in the 48 while Jamie Johnson did the road courses, and would basically put Tony Kanaan in the number one Ganassi seat at this point. Now with the 10 car having Palou no longer in it, that would move, I would certainly say, it would move Marcus Ericsson to the top, as he is very high in the point standings after, of course, winning the Indy 500 and the double point advantage you get from that. Now, our third thing that I want to discuss is, it's just something small, just get this knocked out of the way, is Takuma Sato had released a... Yeah, I was surprised that Jenna hit this nail flat on the hit the nail flat with a hammer when she announced this, because I think she had heard it from someone else, and it was kind of a talk. I remember hearing a couple people talk about it at Mid-Ohio when I was at the track for qualifying. And Indy, I don't even think it was a rumor at Indy, because there were so many other rumors. You heard rumors that Scott Dixon was going to leave and potentially do kind of a partial ownership of McLaren, which everyone else is just like, what? He's been with Ganassi ever since, I think, 2000 or 2001, something like that. And no one, I don't think, ever would have thought that. And for Palou to leave is just unbelievable. And for him to leave on the way he did is, I have no idea how to think of it. Now, Takuma Sato and Dale Coyne Rickware Racing did release a livery today. I can't pull it up due to copyright reasons. And, yeah, Rossi's was unbelievable. I still can't believe Rossi. And it's like he kind of got closure, too, because after that announcement, his performance took a complete 180. Because at Detroit, qualified really good, was up in the front running, potentially could have caught Will Power if there would have been a couple more laps, because Power's tires were running low. So, and, yeah, that's, I heard a lot of people saying that McLaren is essentially trying to start the Avengers up. I'm about to say they got Herta in the F1 lineup. They already got Lando Norris, who he has so much raw talent, but McLaren's capabilities at the moment aren't on the level that they were towards the middle of last year with when they were at Monza and at Sochi. And they got Pato O'Ward, who was my pick personally for the championship this year. His performances have kind of been a little underwhelming, but then again, the reliability of McLaren hasn't been it hasn't been nothing to brag about. And Felix Rosenqvist is an okay driver. I'm not going to give him credit. He won with Ganassi. He's won FE races, and he's all right. I'm not going to say he's bad. He doesn't have the results that I feel like he would like to have. A lot of people wouldn't like him to have. Hell, he could have won the Indy 500 if things would have went certainly a different way. Now, the last thing we are probably going to discuss is the start times for each event this weekend and how you would see them, or in a couple of these cases, listen to them. So we'll start off with Friday. USF 2000, the first practice is at 8 o'clock, or 8 a.m., and how you would find that is Road to Indy TV. They have a YouTube channel. They stream those. Same thing with USF 2000. Their first qualifying session is at 12:35 a.m. on Friday. Indy Pro 2000, same thing with USF, Road to Indy TV. Their first practice is at 8:45 in the morning, and then their qualifying session is at 1:55 in the afternoon. And the last thing, Indy car first practice would be at 2:30 in the afternoon on Peacock. You would have to have Peacock Premium, which has the whole weekend pretty much, due to, I believe, it's kind of hard to broadcast out of country. At least that'd be my assumption. Now, Saturday, USF 2000, their second qualifying for the race 2 will be at 8 a.m. in the morning. Indy Pro 2000, their second qualifying session will be at 8:35 in the morning. Then IndyCar's second practice will be at 10 o'clock in the morning. The fact that all of this is going on alongside Andretti Drummer is pretty juicy. Holy heck, it's Paul Page. I want to give a big shout out to Paul Page, one of the best announcers that I think was ever in the sport. Had some pretty legendary calls. Thank you for tuning in. I guess even legendary announcers like to get their fair share of news. The Real Housewives could never rise to this level. Honestly, I heard a lot of things, including NASCAR Cup Series driver and Daytona 500 winner Austin Cindric pretty much straight up said, put Zach Brown and Chip Ganassi into a boxing ring, winner takes all. In that case being Palou. And for Saturday, IndyCar second practice is at 10 a.m. in the morning. USF 2000 race 1 is at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And Indy Pro 2000 would be short after that. And IndyCar's qualifying session would be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then finally, we move on to Sunday. USF 2000 race 2 at 9:45 in the morning. Indy Pro 2000 race 2 at 11:40 in the morning. IndyCar's final practice session, or the warm-up, will be at 10:55 shortly after the race for the USF 2000 race 2. And the final thing for the day, live on Peacock at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Honda Indy GP of Toronto at the Toronto Street Circuit. Now, we have a packed weekend for the Road to Indy. We have a packed weekend for IndyCar. We have a lot of new things and a lot of unexpected things, as we have not raced at this racetrack since 2019, and it's a lot of unexpected. It's the first race with the Halo screen, and I've become turn 1 on Sunday. I believe it's just going to be a new type of excitement that a lot of IndyCar fans, I know a lot of Canadian IndyCar fans, have been wanting to see that return. Because that used to be my home race. When I lived in Canada, that used to be my home race. I used to love it. The atmosphere, the people that go to that track is amazing. and I just can't wait for it to come back. And Andretti cars have always been a hot topic there. Of course, their team owner, Michael Andretti, has the most wins there. And we have Canadian in the field, Devlin DeFrancesco, who got his best finish at Mid-Ohio, will be there. Hopefully, I would hope to give him a good outing at his home track. Excuse me. So, that is certainly going to be something interesting to watch out for. Now, in 2 weeks, I will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the road course race on Saturday. So we will be there for the IndyCar race and the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. I will be there the 29th as well for a photography at IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, for the ARCA race and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race. So the 29th and the 30th, keep an eye out for the 30th. Going to be posting a lot of in-person stuff like we did at the 500. So, yeah, our third race of the season. Likely going to be our last, as I do not have any intentions of traveling out west due to the fact that I don't have a car, so it would be very hard to do that. And I'm carpooling to get there with this one. I hope to give you guys some great garage shots like I did at Indy for the 500. And yeah, that about does it. And I just want to say it would be hilarious if Felix wins and Toronto and has a couple more wins this season. I would love it. Yeah, Felix, I would love for him to actually get a win this year. I feel like he should have had one last year. Of course, he had that horrible wreck at Detroit that had Askew replace him for a race. But yeah, certainly, I would love to see Felix get a win. He's a great driver. He's shown he has the talent to win, as it did with Road America a few years in the 10 car. And one last thing I want to ask is, who do y'all think is going to replace Alex Palou in that 10 car for next year? I say we already know if Palou does get canned this week, that Tony Kanaan would be the replacement. But who do you think is going to drive that car next year? Because I doubt Chip is going to let Tony drive that car next year. And due to the atmosphere surrounding Kanaan this year, I assumed the Indy 500 was his last start. So, more than likely, I would say that at the end of this stint, that it would be his last. Just give it a second, see who you guys think. I heard a lot of people pointing fingers at Rinus VeeKay. Certainly would be his big break. Please God, not Santino, Ferrucci, maybe VeeKay. Yeah, VeeKay is probably who would be the number one pick. But I say, if he's been able to do wonders in Ed Carpenter racing cars, I feel like he'd be able to dominate in Chip Ganassi. So if you guys can tell, I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been on the road all day. Just got back, did the podcast, and it's over. So, I'm Brandon Thunder for IndyCar Central. And thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see y'all next time. Adios.